New wig, who this? Broski. Hey guys, and welcome back to Tomi's World. You already know it's your girl Tomi, and I am back with another video. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you guys a story time. Again, I feel like I've been doing a lot of story times recently, but I got a lot of stories. Let me know if y'all are getting tired of my story times. So today's story time is gonna be about my worst dating experience ever, and this happened while I was solo traveling, which made it even worse. Y'all, I could have been sex trafficked. Anyway, let's get into the story time. So this story time actually took place in December when I went solo traveling in Malaysia and Singapore for my birthday. But this was particularly in Malaysia. But before we get to Malaysia, let's rewind, because this actually started in Japan. So when I just started my YouTube channel, my friend thought it was a good idea for me to advertise my Instagram on Tinder, because then I would get more visitors to my Instagram, which would lead to more subscribers or more visitors on my YouTube channel. Now I know it's a bad idea, but at the time it sounded great. So in about November or October, this guy texted me on Instagram and he was like, hey, I matched with you on Tinder. I see that you are in Malaysia and I would really like to take you out for a drink. Now this should have been my first red flag, like red flag, because if you match with me on Tinder and I didn't match back with you, then why would you be messaging me on Instagram? That seems just a little bit thirsty, honey. Like, you seem like you need some water. But when it comes on to red flags, guys, I am the queen of just putting on my shades. I ain't see nothing. Like, bitch, I'm blind. Nothing. So I messaged him back because one of the things that I didn't understand was why he was seeing me on Tinder in Malaysia when at the time I was in Japan. My friend was in Malaysia, so she was advertising my Instagram on her Tinder account, and that's how he found me. And apparently there must have been a picture of me on her Tinder because he recognized me, or did he? I don't know. Guys are gross and weird. Anyhow, we talked and I told him that I was definitely not in Malaysia because I was on a train going home in Japan, so I couldn't be in Malaysia. Like, is this me? Yeah, I'm not in Malaysia. So he told me that if I ever came to Malaysia, I should hit him up, and I'm like, yeah, sure, with no intentions of ever doing this. Initially, I was supposed to go to Thailand, but because of the visa process, I just couldn't go to Thailand. So I had to ask my travel agent to reshuffle it and send me to somewhere that I didn't need a visa for, and we found Malaysia and Singapore, which was 2 for the price of 1, so a much better deal anyway. Okay, so let's go to Malaysia. I'm in Malaysia. I'm having a horrible time in Malaysia so far, let me just tell you. So many things were going wrong on this solo trip. I was basically broke because my bank shut down my card and I didn't have any money. I was crying and stuff, but it was fine. I was sticking through it. And I was still taking a lot of pictures and posting on my Instagram. And as I told you, he had messaged me through Instagram. So he must have seen one of these pictures that I took. And of course, he messaged me. And he's like, I thought I told you that when you came to Malaysia, you should hit me up. I'm like, no, I totally forgot. And to be honest, I did forget because that wasn't something that I needed to remember. So he asked me if I was in Kuala Lumpur, which I was, and he told me that he wasn't in Kuala Lumpur. He was in another part, like this beach part of Malaysia. I wish I went there. He said he would not be coming back from that beach part until like Friday, and I was leaving on Saturday. So I'm like, that's cool, we don't have to meet up, we'll meet up next time. So he's like, no, I'm gonna come back Friday early enough, and then I want to take you out for drinks or go clubbing or something. And I'm like, okay, cool. So it was Friday, he came for the date, and guys, Jesus Christ, I don't know what is wrong with people. Once he walks into the balcony, she meant the lobby, y'all, he just kind of grabs onto my hand like, I can't do it by myself. He just grabbed onto my hand like this and started to walk with me. So I'm like, wait, this is weird. Is this weird? I don't know. I should tell you guys that this guy was not Malaysian. He was Haitian. So he was from Haiti. Yes, I remember distinctly because he thought I was from Haiti, and I was a bit offended because I hate when people mix up my nationality. Jamaicans are amazing, and I like when people know that I am 100% a Yardie, okay? I thought this was probably like some sort of cultural difference type thing, but I was very uncomfortable. I don't like when people just touch me, especially people I don't know. Even with people I know, I'm really not a touchy-feely person, so I don't like to be touched. He grabbed onto my hand, and I kind of just slightly started pulling my hand out of his hand. I could see that he got a little bit upset. Like, you know when people get upset, they have like this tell? I could see it because his face kind of scrunched a little bit. But I'm like, nah, he could not be upset that I just took my hand out of his hand because we are literally just meeting. We go outside into his car and he's like, okay, so let's go to a club. I'm there looking like, what? It's Friday night. I was leaving on Saturday, so I just done some shopping. I hadn't eaten and I was starving. And it was super early. So I told him, I'm not going to a club right now. I thought you said we were going to get something to eat. Your girl is hungry. I don't care. So he told me that that was cool. He was going to take me out to get something to eat. Now, where we went, it wasn't a restaurant. It was just this open area. He said it was his favorite place in Chinatown. Looking back at it, he was probably just being cheap because it was a cheap place. It was just outside eating. But I don't know. Probably it was a good place because I ate. I did. I was starving, so I ate. When we got to the place, before we even sat down to eat, you had to like choose your skewers and then you give it to the chef to cook. And he will take it to you. So we chose our stuff, we went to sit down, but instead of just sitting across from me, he was sitting literally right next to me, and his leg was touching my leg like this. I was very uncomfortable with it, so I started to like pull my leg away, and every time I pull my leg away, he brings his leg and touches mine. I'm like, yo, is this like kindergarten or something? I want to say something, but I don't know. I was like really getting scared. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I was getting scared, okay? And the story doesn't even end here. This is just the beginning of the weirdness. So every time I move my foot, he brings his foot to touch mine. So I decided to just let it stay. So our feet are like touching. This is my foot, his foot, it's just touching. I'm like, okay, let them stay, whatever. I think he saw this as an invitation to go even further. So he started to put his hand on my foot. So his foot was already touching my foot. Then he started to put his hand on my foot and he was rubbing. Now this was extremely strange. I don't know if people out there are cool with this, but I started to feel like I was literally being sexually harassed because I was not asking for these touchings. Is that a word? I didn't want him to touch me, and he was. So I took his hand off my leg and put it on his leg. He put it back, like hit me. So I took it up and I put it on his leg. He put it back. And we were doing this for like 30 seconds straight. I'm like, stop. He gets super angry, like he gets angry. This guy is black and he got red in the face, and he had like this African accent. So it was like, this is my leg now. This is my leg now. You can't tell me not to put my hand on your leg. Oh. I'm like, well, this is my leg. I don't know who gave you the impression that this was any sort of way your leg, but I don't want you to put your hand on my leg. He started to get super angry and saying I was disrespecting him in public, and why do I have to be moving his hand off my leg in public?
Really, nigga?
So I'm asking him, I'm like, why are you putting your hand on my leg in public? Seriously, what is wrong with you? He takes his hand off my leg only because the waiter came to bring our food. So when the waiter comes with the meat, he asked if we wanted anything to drink. So I said I was fine. He says he wants a beer. Now the bears in Malaysia, I don't know if it was because it was a Chinese bear or something, but they were huge. Now this was already a weird date. I just wanted to go home. So I definitely was not gonna get intoxicated with this guy. So I'm like, no, I'm cool. I don't need anything to drink. He turns to the waiter and he's like, bring 2 glasses. Then he turns back to me, you're definitely going to drink because I'm not just gonna drink by myself. What type of party would that be? I don't care what type of party would that be. I told you I'm not drinking, and that is definitely what I mean, period. The waiter brings the bear with the 2 glasses. He shares one out for me and shares one for himself. He drinks his beer and then starts getting angry at me again because I'm not drinking this alcohol when I already told him I had no intention of drinking the beer. He's like, why are you trying to offend me? You're not drinking the alcohol. And I'm like, yo, I don't care what you say. I'm not drinking this beer. Now I know you're asking yourself, why didn't you just leave? And I've been asking myself this question like a million times after all of this went down. Because I don't know. It was as if I didn't want to get him more angry. After the bear situation, he goes again to put his hand on my leg. I take it off. On, off, on, off. We're doing this. I get super angry at this point and I'm like, you know what? We are in Chinatown. There are people here, but it was getting late, so people were starting to like leave, but there were still people there. I go to the counter to pay for the food and he just sits there kind of angry and not moving, which I don't care about. Now the guy wants me to pay for both the meat and the alcohol. So I'm telling the waiter at the counter that I'm not going to pay for the alcohol because it's not mine. He wants me to pay for both. Normally I wouldn't have a problem because I'm independent. Okay? But it was my last day in Malaysia, so I didn't have any more ringgits. I don't know how to say it, guys. He finally gets up and comes to tell the guy that he will pay for the alcohol but not the meat, which I didn't have a problem with. I just needed to leave. When he comes to pay, instead of just paying and letting us go our separate ways, he's like, I don't get why you came on a date with me. You don't want me to touch you. You don't want to talk to me. You don't want me to do anything. You don't want to drink with me. And I'm just there like, what have I done to deserve this? So you guys might think this is where the story ends, but no, because I'm stupid. So of course there's more-ish that I got myself into. I'm walking through Chinatown. I honestly don't know where I am. Like, I have an idea of where I am because we were in Petaling. That's what they call Chinatown in Malaysia, where I was. Kuala Lumpur, Petaling. So I've been there before, but I just didn't know how to get back to my hostel in the late night. Now, first and foremost, why did I go on a date when I'm in a foreign country by myself? Error. Stupid decision. No one knew where I was. I didn't have cell service. Anything could have happened to me. And this isn't even where it ends. We're walking through Petaling and I'm stopping to buy stuff and he's just walking ahead like, you know, all male, ego bruised, angry, like I'm supposed to care. I'm stopping to buy a jelly coconut, y'all, because they don't got no coconuts in Japan, and I was living. I literally bought a coconut, like 3 coconuts every day. We get back to his car, and I'm like, you know what? You can go. I will call a Grab. That's like the Malaysian Uber. So I'm like, I'll call a Grab to take me back to my hostel. You don't have to worry about it. So he's like, no, please let me make it up to you. All of a sudden, his persona just changes. He wants to make it up to me. And of course, this clown, this entire clown, me, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. You can make it up to me. Take me home. I get into the car. He immediately locks all 4 doors. My immediate reaction is just to figure out how I would get out of this situation. So I'm not even listening to anything that he's saying. I'm just trying to figure out how would I open the car door if I need to. Because, baby, we're not gonna die in Malaysia. No, that's not how we're gonna go out. period. He's just driving around, and after the second time, I noticed that we literally passed the road that goes to my hostel. And he's just there talking about, oh, I don't get what I did wrong. I don't know why you're so mad. You're like a crazy person because you were happy when we just started the date and then you just all of a sudden got angry. All I said to him was, I think you're passing my hostel. And he says, oh yeah, I just have to go around once more because it's a one-way street. He goes around and he's taking all the corner roads, like all the darkest streets with no one on them, and I'm just crossing my fingers and I'm praying. I'm like, God, if you get me out of this situation, God, I will never do anything like this again, God. I'm praying so hard because I'm so nervous I could just die. Finally, we get back to my hostel and he still has all the doors closed, and I'm like, okay, can you open the door so I can leave? He goes, before I let you leave, I just need to figure out what went wrong. I'm there just sitting because I will punch this window out. I'm already here and you can't kill me no more. So he says he's just trying to figure out what went wrong. He's asking questions, and everything he asks, I'm like, I'm cool. He's like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Are you sure? Yeah. This nigga goes, okay, then if you're sure you're fine, prove it by kissing me. Now I know this nigga done lost his goddamn mind. By this time I had strength, girl, because the security at my hostel was sitting outside. And I was badass again. Yes. So I turn around and I'm like, I don't just use my mouth to kiss anyone. I fly the door open and run. Yes. Just running back over to my hostel. When I run so fast, like I ran past the security guard. He's looking at me like I'm crazy, but I don't care. I was safe. I'm so happy. Thank you, Jesus. He dropped me off at like 11, and at 1 p.m. he was still outside. I had a flight to catch the next morning, and I was so scared that I didn't even go to bed that night, because my hostel is kind of open to the public because they had a rooftop bar that's open to everyone, so he could come in at any time. I'm like, I'm not sleeping. No. I just sat with my bags on the bed. Anyway, guys, that's the story time of my worst date ever. Not even just while solo traveling. I'm not gonna tell you not to date while solo traveling, but please, please, guys, be careful, especially my women out there. As per usual, thank you guys so much for watching. Please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. You already know it's your girl Tomi, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.